What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate, reverse rants, no hate. So I just sat here and I watched the full fight between Frazer Clarke and Fabio Wardley. Now, one of the family asked me did I see that fight, and I didn't. And so I said, you know what? I'm sitting here, I'm relaxing. I got the time, let me check it out. And I watched the fight. Now, my assessment on the fight is simple. It was a slugfest. Both guys were getting their shots in. I mean, Fabio's face was like really banged up and bruised up. I mean, his nose, everything. He was bruised up. Now the fight was a draw. I think they had it 115 to 113. Then they had I think 115 to 113 or something like that or whatever. They had it basically for they had it a draw. But bottom line is, the fight was. I mean, look. Clarke was hurting Fabio. Fabio would come back and hurt Clarke, but it was just a back and forth the whole fight, and they kept that pace. Now, against each other, this reminds me of Mickey Ward versus Arturo Gatti. Against each other, those dudes fought 3 times and they had 3 slugfests. These are the type of fights that definitely, it damages you permanently. These are the type of beatings that don't really go away, and at some point they catch up. I mean, take nothing from the fight in terms of it being a fight. That's what it was. We're going to have to see them against other people to really know how effective they can be, of course. But I say that, I mean more craftier fighters. And I say that for this reason, okay? Well, because one, two fighters can have great fights against each other. I'm still not sure about them in terms of stepping up in competition. I'm going to tell you why. Both of them, one thing they have in common, both of them keep their head on that center line. Fabio at times try to move and try to duck down low a little bit just to, avoid the shot, but overall he's going to get right back in that position. He walks straight in. Clarke walks straight in. They're too easy to hit. They're not defensive minded, and basically getting hit as a heavyweight with clean shots and just guys that really can bang, they're going to have problems. So my point of me seeing them against more craftier fighters to see how can they adjust. Guys that fight the way they did, I'm not expecting any changes. I feel like that's the way they fight. And guys that can move their head, guys that have a better IQ, guys that do really know how to box, they're gonna have issues. But as far as they fight with each other, yeah, that was a straight brawl, man. I mean, yeah. So if in terms of excitement and them putting their heart out there, they went out there like 2 warriors, man, and they did their thing. And I salute them on that. But I'm also an observer as well, and I understand the boxing game, and I know that style that they both have. Just come forward and just let it all out. Yeah, it's I need to see both of them step up anyway, so we can say them fighting each other was both of their step up fights. As far as them being ready for the top guys, I'm still not convinced on that. So I mean, let me see them fight a Jermaine Franklin type of guy. Let me see them fight a guy like a Jared Anderson. Let me see them fight, F.A. Guys like that, Frank Sanchez. I need to see them fight those type of guys, before we even start talking about an AJ or Fury or a Usyk. We need to see what they have, and this is the time to do it. But yeah, I mean, the fight itself was it was a solid fight. It was a solid fight. And, they're going to do it again. And definitely, if the rematch is anything like the first fight, I mean, I think the guy that can be a little more tactical will be able to pull it off. But it's like that's just in their DNA to go in there and fight the way that they did. Like I said, this is the type of shit that takes years off your career, man. It does. But yeah, it was an action-packed fight. If it wasn't for copyrights and shit like that, man, this is the kind of shit I like to sit and watch and just do a narration of it. Like, we just go through the whole shit. Like, I like to break fights down, and we'll see. I mean, and like, I can remember when Gotti and Mickey Ward fought. The fights were I mean, yeah, they were slugfest. They were bloodbath. I mean, every fight they had. Gotti knocks down Ward knocks down Gotti. I mean, it was those fights were really like, grueling fights. So I remember when Gotti and Floyd were going to fight, and so many people were saying, like, Gotti's going to be too strong for Floyd. Man, you see what him and Mickey Ward did? Like, nah, man, I'm telling you, he's going to be too strong. And, Floyd, like, he ain't going to be able to, play around with him and do that little pit-pat shit. I'm like, okay, you call it pit-pat, but, this is when Floyd was knocking people out as well. And Floyd is coming up in weight. And the only thing I could have seen Otero Gotti doing is if he can land. It's not like Floyd can't take a punch. So, I mean, just if you want to go with the puncher's chance stuff, that's about it. And I just really couldn't see him doing nothing with Floyd. So Floyd beat him just as bad as I thought he would. Yeah, I mean, so when I saw that happen, what people failed to realize too, and this is my point about them, Ward versus Gotti. Together they made magic, but against more skillful fighters. I mean, people forget, Mickey Ward, he fought Zab Judah when Zab Judah was real young. You understand what I mean? And Zab Judah beat him. So, I mean, it's like, when you get in there with crafty, skillful fighters, it's not the same. Because, see, those punches that they land on each other is not going to land on more skillful fighters. And this is like when I look at Clarke and when I look at Fabio, I need to see them step up in competition. And so, if anything, their rematch would more likely be right away. And either guy, regardless to the outcome, we need to see them step up. And then especially like, in a sport like boxing where people fight, most of these guys not even fighting 2 times a year anymore, man. Like, so to get in there once or twice a year, it's like the type of fights that they need, the opponents that they need. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, maybe this is a fight that maybe maybe the Saudis might want to, get a piece of this action with these two. Who knows? Maybe, and maybe they get those fights if whether it happens in Saudi, whether it happens in the UK or wherever. Just say, I'm looking at, like, for this reason. It's like you got a lot of fighters in the UK and America, for example, that could fight each other. But unless the Saudis put it together, it's not happening. And we just see this shit with people, and it's just like, I don't understand this withdrawal type mentality where these fighters are just like not getting in there. So to have a fight like that, this fight more than likely won't happen in Saudi Arabia, but if it did, it not only would it be more pay for both guys, but it would just be more exposure and a possibility that somebody else on that card, will end up fighting them possibly on the next card. If you're gonna step up, you got to step up all the way, and that's like, I mean, it doesn't get any bigger than them being able to get on a Saudi card. So yeah, I mean, but that was a solid fight. And I mean, I'm sitting there watching the fight, Me watching the fight, I'm looking at both guys. Move your head, man. Move, step aside, move. Like, and I'm seeing, but this is just who they are. They're just gonna come and bang like that. Yeah, you start to come at guys like that, that can really punch, and you're getting hit with clean shots. You know, they're gonna have a tough time. Both of them are gonna have to make better adjustments tactically to be able to really fight the top guys. I've seen them both fight before, like several times. So I never saw them as like I remember in the comment section, I think I did a Fabio versus Frank Sanchez, like who would win. Majority of people pick Frank. I pick Frank. I just don't see Fabio as being on that level yet. I don't see him having that yet. And see, that's the thing. When you get hit by guys that really can crack, Fabio's a decent puncher, and Frazer Clarke is a decent puncher. That's, neither one of these guys are really big punchers, man. So when you get in there with someone that is a real banger and you're getting hit with those type of shots, it's different. And so, yeah, I mean, it's one fight at a time. And let's see if either guy can make any real progression. But it's hard for guys. It's easier for guys that already know how to box to become better boxers, more cerebral, more deadly, and more skillful. Guys that just like to punch and bang, even if certain guys may have a little more style and flair to it than the other guys, but like Fabio has a little more flair and style to the way he puts, the way he presents his fighting style is more flash and a little more flair, than Clarke. But they're pretty much the same type of fighters, man. Like, and that when you have that one dimension, let's just go forward and just try to get each other out of there, and you're not really a big puncher, you're gonna have problems, and you're gonna have to, with big punches, and you're gonna have to learn to make adjustments, and we'll see. I mean, but it was a good fight. It was a great fight. That was a great fight. But yeah, I got to be honest with you guys and be real about what I see in the potential of the potential dangers of several heavyweights fighting either one of these guys and more than likely knocking them out. You can't go in there with big punches and come in a straight line like that. I mean, hell, Fabio or Frazer Clarke versus a Dillian White or Daniel Dubois. These are fights that these are the type of fights we need to see. And then we will, and listen, the whole point is showing and proving, because you can look at a fighter and say, right now, I say no. Maybe they can improve. We don't know. Right now, I don't think Fabio or Frazer are top level. I think, like I said, against each other, they put on a hell of a performance against each other. But I think that against, like the better guys in the division, I think they're gonna have trouble. You can't take blows like that. You have to move your head. You have to be able to parry and catch shots and take as much damage as possible. So even in your delivery, you're delivering your shots, when you get in there and just bang like that. And like I said, neither one of these guys are like really huge punchers. I think too, when heavyweights fight, especially like guys who are physically smaller, they think like, oh my God, these are devastating punches, but they're not. Not that they don't have some power. Like I said, both of them have decent power. Neither one of these guys are like huge punchers. Neither one of them. And as a heavyweight, for you to make it as a heavyweight and not be a big puncher, it's best that you know how to box. You need to know how to box. When you like to brawl and there's guys that hit way harder than you, and you're there to be hit, it changes everything. I mean, imagine if Usyk wanted to just stand and bang and didn't have boxing, like real solid boxing skills or high ring IQ. Usyk would be in trouble because he just doesn't pack the power to really go in there and like just crack guys and get them out of there. Like it's an accumulation and he has to build it up. And so, yeah, you need to have more weapons, and like I said, them against each other, dynamic. Can't take nothing away from their fight, but there's elements of their game that they need to improve on to become top level, and I just don't see right now. Let me put it to you like this: AJ would knock both of them out. Daniel Dubois would knock both of them out. Tyson Fury would knock both of them out. Because they come in a straight line but with no real pressure, Wilder might knock both of them out. Wilder might knock both of them out. Frank Sanchez would knock both of them out. Efe Ajagba beats both of them. Whether he knocks him out or whether it's a decision, he beats both of them. This is my opinion. Jared Anderson, I don't know. Because Jared Anderson is not hard to hit either. And even though Jared, yeah, I don't know. But if Jared Anderson is, if he makes improvements, because, like I said, he gets hit too. But I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Yeah, but I think Jared Anderson, I don't know. He might be able to weather both of their storms and edge them out. But yeah, I mean, so looking at these guys who's there, a Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine Franklin has a tendency, get a little careless and sloppy and try to load up, and he tries to knock you out with every shot. And really, Jermaine Franklin doesn't pack that kind of power either. See, he reminds me of both of them in a lot of ways. But if Jermaine Franklin fights sloppy and winging shots, and like the last fight I seen him, I think I don't know, that might go either way. So looking at guys like that, yeah, I mean, yeah, I just don't see these guys really being ready right now. Like, I think they'll come to try to put up a good fight, but I just think they get knocked out, both of them. By hey, Robert Helenius is versus either one of those guys. I don't know. And see, it take you to fight different styles and different guys for people to really understand. Like, you can't look at these two fight each other and really think like, oh, if they were in there with AJ or Fury or Usyk, it'd be like even remotely close to what they did with each other. Like, it's a whole different fight. Daniel Dubois, guys like that, and the thing, like, Wilder not being a Joseph Parker. Yeah, Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker should beat both of them. He should. Yeah, he should beat both of them. He should, especially the fact that they just come forward. They both come forward in a straight line, and Joseph Parker, he can crack, and they don't pack the kind of power that Joseph Parker need to really worry about too much. So Joseph Parker should beat both of them as well. I just don't see these guys, like I said, it's top level just yet, and I think that, like, really, those fighting these different guys, if they can't make the adjustments that they need to, that style that they have, just walking in like that, just no. I still don't think that they're ready. But yeah, once again, their fight was solid, man. They had a war. Sat right here in my driveway and watched that whole fight just now. So listen, and that's what the game is about, is getting better, improving on what you do, and having a better understanding of the fight game in general, and seeing like how you need to approach different, each fight differently. And when you don't have that ability, you're gonna always have, it's like a Derek Chisora. You know what Derek Chisora's game plan is. You already know what's your game plan, Derek, or you already know what he's gonna do. And basically, it's like when you come up short, but you put up a good fight. I mean, that's nobody wants to just be a gatekeeper, man. Everybody wants to flourish, and they want their careers to go forward and become a real force to be reckoned with. They want to become world champion. But yeah, these guys, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. And for them to get better, they're gonna have to step up in competition. They're gonna have to. There's a certain level of fighters where guys can put great fights on against each other. I mean, look at the 140-pound division, where you got all these names there, and it's like all of a sudden now, since Regis Pro Race and Josh Taylor's been beaten, it's like, how much talk do you hear about the 140 division now with the guys that was already there before, Raleigh came up, and before Tiafimo and Haney? You don't even hear these guys' names anymore. It's like where's everybody at? So it's a difference. It's a difference when, like I said, when you step up in competition and you get to see who's really who. And it's not so much about a styles make fight situation, because whatever style you come against, okay, that's part of your training, your job to train to adapt and adjust to these styles. So, I know people always, styles make fights, yeah, but there's, the thing that I don't respect about that comment is people only say styles make fights when a guy that was expected to win loses, or wins, but basically that guy gave him a run for his money. They don't say that shit. Basically they say that shit when a guy that was supposed to win loses. That's the only time. They don't say that shit when a guy is supposed to win, but he is in a tough fight. They say, oh, the guy was exposed. No, he's in a tough fight. You don't hear that styles make fight shit when the decision goes to the guy that's supposed to win. They don't say, well, nah, styles make fights, he gave him problems. No, it's if that guy loses. So, that's what the adjustments are for. And that's why boxers are harder to beat than brawlers, because boxers can adjust and adapt. And even when you try to adjust to them, the craftiness, the mindset, the IQ, everything, especially when they're talented with hand speed, foot movement, all that kind of shit, when they have the total package, and that's the thing. You don't have to be the hardest puncher in the world. You can be a decent puncher. It's everything that you combine is what makes you so deadly. Whereas when guys that can punch, that's what they did a lot. When they rely on power, it's not enough. They're going to have that fight or those fights where it wasn't enough, for guys that aren't that bigger punchers. And I heard people talk to me before. They would say, I don't know, I think Clarke might hit too hard for Fabio. I saw the press conference and the build-up and stuff, but I didn't see the fight until just now, a little while ago. But when I saw the fight, and I saw them both fight before, I don't consider neither one of them really big punchers, man. They're decent punchers. Man. And this is like I'm saying, when you look at a guy's face, and it's like, bro, when you're throwing bombs at a guy and you're landing like flush punches on a guy, right? It doesn't mean you can't punch if a guy has a good chin. But there's no way you're gonna just take bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb from a devastating puncher. And that's one of the things, like, for example, when we could talk about Arturo Gatti, well, a lot of people, they was praising him and talking about how great he is, but they don't want to say it now because then they remember, oh, damn, Floyd beat him. All right, let's not talk about Gatti no more. But yeah, I mean, him and Ward, yeah, they went there and they fought like warriors against each other. Can you really say Arturo Gatti or Mickey Ward? Have you ever watched them and thought these are two really highly skilled fighters? Or did you think, nah, these are two guys that go in there and bang? Because that's what they do. Now, between Ward and Gatti, Gatti has more boxing ability. He's shown more than Ward in terms of being able to throw the jab and move off the jab, work off the jab and move a little bit. But it's not. The thing is, Gatti, he's one of those fighters that he has heart, he has toughness, but when you look at him, can you really say he has a great jab? He has great power. He has great head movement. He has great footwork. No. And the same thing for Mickey Ward. So where he might show a little more flair in his style than Ward does, it doesn't really matter. You understand what I'm saying? It's so against each other, yeah. It just comes down to like who can take it more, who wants it more, and who can take it the most. Because between the two of them, when you start to see head movement go away, you start to see the boxing goes out the door and it just becomes a slugfest. Well, yeah, that's a lack of discipline if you have ability, but you get caught up in these shootouts. I don't know if Fabio or Wardley has it in them to want to do anything different from what they normally do. And you got to look at how long a person's been fighting a certain way and what's been working for them. So I mean, yeah, what you bring to the table is what you bring to the table. And that's why, like, again, another guy, like I said, Derek Chisora, I always looked at him and said, the guy just likes to come in and just bang. No rhyme or reason, I'm just trying to hit you and hurt you and get you out of here. And it's not that he can't fight, but he limited himself. I remember him being interviewed one day, and he said out of his own mouth, man, I got to learn how to box. And the lady interviewed him and said, oh, no, you're a good boxer. He says, nah, I can't box. I just come, would just try to, knock out power and want to get you out. He said, I want to learn how to box. I forgot who fought. And him watching that person fight, he was giving that guy praise. I forgot who it was, and he was saying that he wanted to learn how to box. And that's where people don't understand. It's like your natural instincts kick in. We saw Julio Cesar Chavez, when he lost to Frankie Randall, and we saw him decide to try to box and try to be a little more patient in ways like, nah, it's too far gone, Julio. At this point, you are who you are. And every fighter doesn't have the same exact ability. So where other guys can be more disciplined and can add more to their arsenal, they're going to do better than guys that can't. So when you end up having the majority of people saying you have a puncher's chances because they see that you don't have a certain skill level that you would need to be able to compete and make, stay in the fight, make the fight easier for yourself. The James Kirklands of the world, these guys that can punch, but I mean, like I said, once they can't get you out of there, then what? So, yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys, man. That Fabio and Frazer Clarke had a solid fight with each other, man. But once again, that's against each other. So yeah, not to take anything away from them, just looking at the reality. You can't go in there, especially as a heavyweight, man, walking in a straight line like that. And that goes to show you that neither guy's a big banger, because not only were they just walking forward trying to get each other out of there, they wasn't even cautious about it. They were just, they wasn't worried about each other's power. So I don't think they're ready just yet. And let's see what happens after the rematch. Let's see, what level of competition they fight against. Are they willing to travel? Are they willing to, step up and fight, more experienced, better skilled fighters? Because that's what it's going to take for them to climb that ladder. And if they don't, then you know. But we'll see. But it was a great fight, you know. It was a great fight. Talk to me in the comment section. Tell me what y'all think. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people. And I will catch y'all on the next video.